When we started our full-time RV journey, it was really hard to figure out what are the many items that we need to have right now and what items are just optional.
Obviously, I needed a new camera lens. I needed a couple extra tools, some GoPro stuff, GoPro attachments.
I don't think those are necessities.
I think you mentioned some new shoes. I'm pretty sure. Let's be real here. But no, there's so many different things that you're gonna find that you hear that you need, and it's hard to tell which things are necessities, like where do I need to put my money right now,
right,
and what are things that I can purchase later. So after 3 years, we have developed 3 different categories and put things into a list on needs, wants, or luxuries. In this video, we're gonna go over just the needs because there's a lot of little details. We wanna explain why you need these items, what they're good for, what they're used for. So we're gonna do 3 different videos. So definitely subscribe to this channel so you can get notified of the other videos when they come out. Let's get started in the needs video.
All my life I've barely spoken. Your words have been so broken. I've been under your hypnosis. Why did I sip that potion?
Okay, here is the list of needs. These are absolutely important for your very first trip.
Yeah, we are not going to go over everything that you could possibly want. There are some things that are understood like bedding, dishes, pots and pans, and we're not going over that. We'll let you figure that out. These are things that you might not have thought of, or they just kind of slip through the cracks. You're like, oh my gosh, I got to put money in that. These are definitely necessities. Again, we're going to do another video on the wants and the luxuries, but this video is definitely on the needs. Definitely. That's my word today, definitely.
Well, the first thing you need is good toilet paper.
Yeah, let's talk about your rear end, okay? Listen, no one likes that super thin paper stuff like you see in the public restrooms that leaves paper cuts. Don't do that, okay? But also don't go the other extreme. You cannot use real toilet paper in an RV toilet. It just bottlenecks everything and it gets stuck and it creates a major nightmare. You have to use this stuff.
Yeah, he's right. You have to use the quick dissolving, rapid dissolving toilet paper. We love the Scott brand because it's soft and it's not going to give you those paper cuts, so you're good.
No doubt. And listen, side note, you also cannot put wipes down that toilet. It's best to have a little trash can to throw that away or a little bag or something, but do not put that in the tank. It will clog the tank up and then it is a nightmare, especially some of the units you have to basically take the floor up in order to take the tanks out. So do yourself a favor, make sure you follow these rules. Don't put real toilet paper down there and don't put wipes in the toilet.
Let's talk about tank treatment. So when you first get your RV, it's gonna have kind of its own standard RV smell. So if you have a new one, kind of like that new RV smell, right?
Yeah, it's basically toxic glue and wood that you smell, and eventually you soak it up in your system so it goes away out of the RV.
Right.
That's how it works.
But one day you're gonna walk into your RV and it's gonna hit you like a brick wall.
Yeah, and that's not toxic anymore, that's your sewage. That's what you're gonna start smelling. Sucks.
But there's a way to avoid that by using the tank treatments.
Yes.
So we really like the drop-ins, and basically it does something to the tanks.
Yeah, I think when you put it in there, it turns into some sort of monster, eats stuff, eliminates odors. I'm not sure exactly how it works. I'm just glad it does it in that tank. But it definitely works.
Right, so we just take these drop-ins and you put them right in the toilet, and the chemicals in here take care of all that tank problem there.
Yeah, we do that right after we flush. So each time we flush the tank and rinse it, then we close it all up, put these in, and that gets it set up for the next round. We do recommend the Camco TST version, which is like an orange thing. I'll put it on the screen here. We got this one because they were out of the other one, but we prefer that one. We've used it for 3 years and it's done amazingly well. Doesn't have a very strong chemical smell, and it handles everything with ease.
It actually comes in 2 different forms. You can get the liquid or you can do the drop-ins.
Yeah, we prefer the drop-ins because when your kids are carrying that bottle of toxic chemicals around and they accidentally drop it and then it just seeps out from under your walls, it's a pretty bad deal, I've heard.
Didn't you actually do that to my brother's RV?
It was an accident. But it did deal with that ant infestation he had, literally killed them all. So there's that. No one died, so that's good. Anyway, that's why we stick with the drop-ins now. The little pods,
easier.
super easy, no one's died yet. Consider doing that. Okay, let's talk about safety features, safety items.
Okay, so I know a lot of you probably like to cook, but let's be real. You probably burn things.
You do. We all know this. Listen, I grew up in a family where my sister constantly made burnt offerings, and we had to eat those offerings. And every single day, somebody was standing on a chair with a lid, wafting that air to get the fire alarm to go off. So I know what you're experiencing, but that's not an excuse to just stick with one. You need to have more than one in that RV.
Yes, and the RV will come with a smoke detector, a carbon monoxide detector, and maybe just one fire extinguisher. But it's not enough. You need to load that puppy up.
That's good. I like it, yeah. Load up with safety equipment, people.
Yes.
We're being serious here, okay? Not only should you have a fire extinguisher in your kitchen, but you should have this in other places in the house too, okay? Let's face it, it's a very small space, and once that fire starts, you're not gonna have a lot of time to just run and try to go to the other room and find something. This stuff will go quick. So, not to bring terror into your life here, but safety is something that you don't really want to think about later. You want to do it right off the bat. So we recommend getting a smoke alarm for each room, a fire extinguisher for each room, and a carbon monoxide detector for each room. All right, may seem a little bit excessive, but the truth is you're going to want to know if there's a fire, even in a small amount.
Right, and even train your kids on what to do if there was a fire, how to get out the window, how to get out the door, whatever that they need to do, how to use the fire extinguishers to put out any small fires.
Yeah, and the other thing is do a quick test every now and then where you press that button. There's a test thing. You're actually supposed to do that. But it makes that terrible noise, and do that regularly so your kids aren't afraid of that sound. They need to hear it and they need to respond, but if the first time they hear it is when something's on fire, they're going to freak out and run in the wrong direction. So do a little test. Practice that. Safety is so important. Don't wait until it's too late. Get you some of these very necessary items.
We already talked about the things that you need inside the RV. Here's the things that you need outside. You have to have these things for your very first trip. These are the essentials.
That's true. Let's start with your poop chute.
Oh goodness.
Don't worry, there's plenty of other names too. You can call it a stinky slinky, stretchy pipe thingy, a makeshift accordion, makes a cool noise.
Okay.
Whatever you want to call it, you gotta have it, because you can't just open the valve and shoot it out the side of the RV. It does not work that way.
It'll smell.
You have to have a pipe.
That would not be fun.
It's bad. These do not come with your RV. At least they didn't come with our RV, and we're very surprised because it is required. You really need to have this before your first trip.
Right.
So put that on your list.
You also need the part that comes out of this to go into the sewer. So that is one other piece.
You can buy it with a set. The link that we have on there is the full set that comes with the attachments you need to go into the actual plumbing pipe. And we recommend the Camco Rhino version. That's what this is right here. Let me tell you, we have used these for 3 years and they work really well. On that note, there are some things you can do to maintain them so they last longer.
Right.
I am doing a video on that, so make sure you have the notification bell clicked. Ding, that sort of thing. So that you can hear when we actually press go on that. You know, when you're sleeping at night and I upload it like 1 a.m. You can
That'd be nice, thank you.
No, it actually doesn't do that if you're sleeping, so you're good. It's okay, I won't wake you up. Anyway, be sure and check in with us so you can see that video too and make these things last forever. But you gotta have a plumbing pipe, very important.
You'll also need a sewer pipe support. It kind of looks like this accordion thing you lay out so you can put the pipe on top of it. But you need that because a lot of the campgrounds require you to have the sewer pipes off the ground.
Yeah, not all of them, but in the past year, we've seen a lot more start saying that you have to have them off the ground. So that little thing is the way to go. It collapses down, fits in the compartment, works really well, and it gives a nice little incline for all your stuff to just disappear.
Disappear.
You want that stuff to go away. Get you one of those.
Okay, on to the water situation. I am not sure if you know, but not all campgrounds have crystal clean water.
Why does it smell like rotten eggs?
Oh, that's the sulfur, buddy. It's natural.
Yeah, and it's really good for you too. Actually, Actually, the minerals that are in this mud here, they draw toxins out of your body. Can you believe that? Cool, right?
Oh, wow. That's exactly what we needed.
Oh, yeah. Good call, Griswold. Oh, man.
God, that's so gross.
Okay, you get my point though. You get
Wow.
my point.
Yes. Now, your rig may have come with a whole house water filter or something, but if it did not, make sure you get that. We have 2 filters, and I'll tell you more about that later in our wants category. You can live without it, but I really think that you at least need 1 filter.
Right.
And it's really important to clear that water out before it comes in and it starts messing up your faucets and stuff with all the sediment. There's a lot of crazy stuff out there, people. Get you a water filter. And no bathing in weird pools.
That too.
Let's talk hoses. Gentlemen, need to talk with you for a minute, okay? Let's be realistic. There are many different types of hoses. There are long hoses, there are short hoses, there's expandable hoses, there's really heavy hoses that just sit there. But all hoses are very, very important, okay?
Yes, and so we decided to do the expandable hose.
Which works very well, I might add. Anyway, but hey, also, these hoses are really great. There's some that mention drinking water hose or not. If you don't have a filter or you just have a very small filter, you might want to get a hose that mentions it's for drinking water. The taste is a little bit better. I don't think it's that much better, so we go with the expandable hose because we have 2 filters on our system and there is no difference in the taste at all. So no, keep that in mind when you're buying them.
If you're going to be in the really cold weather where it's going to freeze, then you will need to have one of the heated hoses. So make sure that you look that up. Otherwise, one of these hoses is great. We actually throw our hose under the RV so it's not sitting in the direct sunlight.
Yeah, that allows it to last a little longer. I mean, inside of this is like some sort of a rubber material, and if it's in the sun for too long, eventually it'll just break down really quick. On to the electrical items.
Okay, I actually don't know a whole lot about this stuff, so I'm going to just model the items.
Excellent. You look great already.
Thank you.
Loving it. Loving it. Work those adapters. Okay, when you get your rig, it should come with a power cord. If not, you need to take it back. You definitely need a power cord. But you might have a 20 amp, 30 amp, or 50 amp, most commonly a 30 or 50 amp. And when you go to some of these campgrounds, you're not going to have the exact connector that you need. You might be staying in a 30 amp spot and you have a 50 amp connector, or you might be in a 30 amp spot and you have a 20 amp connector. So these adapters are really important for those times, otherwise you can't plug up. Now, disclaimer here, okay? Don't take my word for it and just start plugging things in, burn your rig down and blame me, all right? Do not leave that comment on my YouTube. The reality is you have to do a little research and you have to learn how much power are you pulling. We happen to know we have 2 air conditioners, we've got a microwave, we've got a refrigerator. So when we run on 50 amps, we can run everything. When we run on 30 amps, we can only do 1 air conditioner at a time.
Right.
That's really important to know, all right? There's gonna be times you need to power up. Let's say you have a 30 amp and you're at a 50 amp place. So you need to have an adapter that goes from 30 to 50 and vice versa. But you do need to be aware of what powering up means and what powering down means so that you can be safe and not hurt your rig or other people.
Okay, awesome.
Surge protector.
Yes, so the surge protector is not an absolute necessity, but it's really important to us because it's basically insurance for the rig. Helps with surge protecting.
You nailed it.
Okay.
You nailed that. Yeah, that's another thing. We consider that to be a necessity. It's this box that you connect outside, and if the campground's power goes crazy or a lightning bolt strikes or something, that little box will die before your rig dies or before you blow a bunch of electrical stuff.
That's nice.
We've actually lost one of those boxes already. There was no catastrophic major event, but we've been through quite a few storms, and then one day I came out, I was like, oh man, this thing's not, half the box is dead. So I'm assuming it protected us. On that note, I have a link in there for the one that we got after that. That actually is working very well as well. But anyway, you want to protect your rig from electrical issues. Make sure you get that if that's an important deal for you. But the necessity here we're talking about are the adapters. You definitely need some adapters. You won't get a chance to plug in and you won't have any power. All right, I'm not gonna spend too much time on tires because there's a lot of controversy on this, but listen, it's a well-known fact that most rigs coming off the lot that you get, there's a good chance they have bad tires. Just throwing that out. Again, yours may be fine, don't freak out, but it's something you need to assess.
Yeah, we had actually 2 tire blowouts within the first 2,000 miles of traveling, and it was kind of a big ordeal.
Well, that sucks. I guess it wasn't the right tire. Not the right tire for us. Looks like it took out my water hose too here. Yeah, I mean, not only is it dangerous, it damaged the side of the rig, cost a lot of money. So for me, if I had known that, I would have put that money aside and bought new tires, knowing what I know now. So I'm just throwing that out to you. Again, may not be a necessity. You might have great tires. We replaced them with G-rated tires and it was amazing. We'll talk about that another time. But anyway, regardless, you do need to have something that's really necessary, and that is your air compressor.
Yes.
We found that when you go to gas stations, they do not go past like 30 or 40 PSI. And the tires on these rigs oftentimes have to be aired up to at least 60 hours. The new ones we have are up to 110. And you're not gonna find that in a gas station. It's gonna be very difficult to find a place that will air it up that much.
Right, and one time we actually tried at a truck stop and we tried to air up, you know, what they air up the Mack trucks, and it was actually letting the air out of our tires, and we did not realize it until I think the second tire. I don't know what happened, but we literally could not drive on them because they did not have enough air in these tires, and this thing was broken in the entire truck stop. Fortunately, there was a guy working on another Mack truck and he had an air compressor. I mean, thank goodness for this guy in the middle of nowhere, Tennessee, and he aired up our tires for free, so it was really great.
I still don't know how we managed to empty 2 tires. I'm not sure how we did that. But anyway, point being, before every trip, you should check your tire pressure, make sure it's right, and air them up. A lot of people say that the tire pressure monitor system is like absolute importance. I do not have one of those, and statistically, when I look at it, if you air your tires up before every run and you've checked them, your chances of success are just as good as having the TPMS. I'm sure you probably might disagree. If so, leave me a thought in the comments there. Be kind, okay? It's okay that we disagree. You can buy whatever you want to buy, all right? This is what I'm buying, and it works great. 3 years now, and the tires have been in amazing shape. So anyway, I definitely recommend getting this. And this one actually connects to the battery port on our rig, so we don't have to find an outlet or anything, and it stretches to all the tires.
Okay, I know that this is getting long, but we want to make sure that you have everything covered of what you have to have for your first trip. Another thing is the wheel chocks.
Yeah, listen, there are many different types of wheel chocks. There's some that go in the tires and you stretch them out, and others that are like the little plastic thing. We are very convinced that these rubber ones are amazing, and we stick to those. I had a friend one time that had a plastic one like that, and he was driving forward and did not listen to his wife, who was like, stop, 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 and he was like just jamming in that truck, and he ran over the wheel chalk, which is difficult to do. It's really difficult, but you can do it. You push that accelerator enough, you can get over it. Anyway, it totally mangled that plastic one, and it was unusable. This rubber one, on the other hand, does not do the same thing. Anyway, there's a friend of mine that did that. So, anyway, moving on. Next item.
Leveling blocks are also going to be super helpful when you are trying to level your rig, so you can put them under the jack things, right? Jacks. You might even have to drive up onto the blocks to make sure everything's good. You might have a really awesome system like ours where it can just level everything on its own, but those blocks still come in handy even for us when we need some help with the distance.
Leveling blocks are very good.
I've heard it said that a dog is a man's best friend, but I don't think so. I actually think that duct tape is a man's best friend.
It's true. I mean, listen, when you're driving your rig down the road, you have to know that thing is coming apart. Like, everything is vibrating loose. If you don't believe me, start checking screws around your rig. It is vibrating apart as you drive. And you are going to need this at some point. Yeah. It has come in handy many different times. This one is the Gorilla duct tape, so this puppy works, let me tell you. It's so definitely make sure you get that. Okay, also gloves.
I was wondering what the Michael Jackson look was doing.
I usually use 2, but the reality is we're in the middle of COVID, and these things are dang expensive, so I didn't want to waste 2 of them, just 1. So Plus I got that Michael Jackson.
Oh! Yeah, don't do that
It's
again.
like my inner soul. My soul, people.
Yeah, those, I have to say, those were the good old days.
Like the good old times. Like the good old times.
Moving on.
Anyway, get you some gloves. I have seen a lot of people not use gloves when they're flushing their tanks, when they're putting up their hoses. I mean, listen, people, this is why we can't have nice things, okay? This is why COVID is here. And crazy enough, the people that don't use gloves are probably the ones that will survive because they're used to all that terrible
Their immune
stuff
system.
in their system now. They're killing the rest of us.
Yeah, but we don't want to touch all the nasty stuff, so gloves come in handy.
Yeah, disposable gloves, or you can use reusable gloves as long as you're cleaning them each time. I mean, there's plenty of options out there, but please get you some gloves. If nothing else, so your kids can see that this is a good thing. You need to do this, okay? Show some love, wear a glove.
Okay, last but not least, we have this cute little box right here that has things in it that I have no clue about.
Listen, men, you need to get you a toolbox so you can feel like a man.
A cute one.
Yeah, and
cute
for women,
toolbox.
get you a toolbox so you can feel like a woman, alright? So yeah, toolbox, you're gonna have a couple tools. You definitely need like a multi-screwdriver that can do like a flat and a Phillips and a square and a bunch of other things. An adjustable wrench is very important.
Well, your basic tools, pliers, screwdrivers.
I didn't even know I had that in there. That's where that is. Yeah, so having a toolbox is really important. The essentials for sure are utility knife, pliers, flashlight, safety glasses, duct tape, already mentioned that. I also have a drill and a meter. Not necessarily a big deal, but I have used those many times. So if you can swing it, those are great tools to have as well. Make sure you got a little toolkit. Make sure you have a toolkit. a New York toolkit.
All right, there you have it. Here's our essential list that we were looking for 3 years ago when we started.
So if you thought for a second that RV living would be very inexpensive and affordable, now you know you're wrong. No, I'm just kidding. Kind of. No, this is good. You gotta have some of this gear here. We think it's essential. You might be able to get by without it. If you do a lot of boondocking, some of this stuff doesn't matter. But anyway, hopefully this is helpful for you. If so, let us know in the comments. Or you can connect with us on Facebook or Instagram. We'd love to hear from you. And we look forward to seeing you in the next video talking about what we think you're gonna want, which is more fun than the stuff you need. Come back.